say I'm interested to see the next thing now. Our next speaker is Ewa Jasiewicz from No Dash for Gas. And we were all ready to go out and demonstrate for them. We were all ready to go out and demonstrate for them if they went to jail, and they didn't. Because the authorities are scared of them and scared of us.
That's right. So thank you for inviting me to speak here today. Yeah, I'm from No Dash for Gas. We're a group including 21 people who, about 9 months ago, it was October last year, we shut down EDF's West Burton gas-fired power station. It's actually a gas-fired and coal-fired power station, but the gas-fired side of it was to be opened, it was to go online the day that we entered and climbed 2 chimneys and occupied those chimneys for a week. And it was the longest power station shutdown in UK history, and the aim of it was to really put the government's dash for gas, or the policy to make the UK reliant on gas for energy generation for the next 30 years, to build up to 40 new gas-fired power stations, to put this agenda on the public agenda and to fight it and to oppose it and to defeat it. It's going to take more than shutting down a power station to do that, and that's why I'm going to talk a little bit more about this big event that's coming up. But I want to give you a bit of background about what the dash for gas is and what it's going to mean. Effectively, there is an energy gap in the UK. There's going to be a need to find new energy, new sources of energy to power the national grid. I think there are some very big questions, obviously, about what energy is used for and how we can conserve energy and how we can change the way that the market works and, in fact, get rid of an energy market full stop. I'm also part of a group called Fuel Poverty Action, and Jonathan Stevenson, is he in the room? Is going to speak in the final plenary. But our position is that we don't believe energy should be a marketable commodity at all. It shouldn't be on the market. It's a right. It belongs to us. It's a common good. It's part of a global commons. But anyway, so we're at a really, really critical juncture right now with this government intent on allowing the big six energy companies to get even more powerful. I mean, they've already been lobbying the government for years. There's been over 50 staff from EDF and E.ON and British Gas and other corporations seconded into the Department for Energy and Climate Change, and they've been creating energy policy in this country in their own interests, and unsurprisingly, they're lobbying for these new gas-fired power stations. So we have to stop this from becoming a fact on the ground. We are at a point where we can actually influence that which hasn't happened yet. So there is a real chance of stopping this, and at No Dash for Gas and Fuel Poverty Action, we believe it's possible to stop them, but we do need a really critical mass to make this happen. Obviously, the government is not listening to public opinion, with the vast majority of the British public wanting renewable energy. They're also not listening to scientific opinion. And the scientific opinion of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is that the dash for gas is incompatible with the UK's carbon reduction targets and with the UK's own legislation, that being the Climate Change Act of 2008, which binds this country to reduce its carbon emissions, which it's not going to be possible to do that. And in fact, we can see the government is already tinkering with this legislation, and with the latest voting on the new energy bill, we see that there's actually no carbon reduction target set at all anymore, or clean energy targets set. So that's thrown renewable energy out of the window and put us squarely on a route for ever more burning of fossil fuels and new gas-fired power stations. So it's even more important to resist. The other aspect of how the government's ignoring scientific advice and professional advice is the fact that same panel on climate change has also studied the fact that renewable energy is possible. We can power this country, by some standards it's 6 times over with offshore wind. Studies vary, but it's possible to go down this route. And as was mentioned by our comrade in America, it's because these energy companies are swaying our democratic decisions and are lobbying so hard to make sure that this isn't a possibility, because what we're asking these companies to do is to contract effectively. We don't want to exist. That's a big ask. We're going head on with their capitalist interests. We're not interested in seeing the big six dominate a renewable energy market. We're looking at community-controlled, democratically controlled, publicly controlled energy. and far more than that, but a say as to what we're producing and why in this country, and an end to capitalism. Let's be frank about that. So we go, yeah, there's not that much we need to do. And another strong aspect of No Dash for Gas is that we're focused on fuel poverty as well. In this country, you've got food banks opening every single week up and down the country, and it's not even a question now of people choosing between heating and eating. For a lot of people, it's neither. It's actually neither. They can't afford either. And with the Dash for Gas, with the reliance on gas, we're going to see fuel bills go up by hundreds of pounds for the average family, and it's a fact that with renewable energy, the price is going to fall. Energy bills are going to be much cheaper. So, we won't just up those chimneys to attack the government on its energy policy. It's also in solidarity with the thousands of people around this country who are suffering. And also, last year, 7,200 people died as a result of not being able to turn the heating on, as a result of poor housing, as a result of fuel poverty. And that's a World Health Organization statistic, and that's in this country. That shouldn't be happening, not here and not anywhere. Earlier on, we had the pleasure to listen to, oh no, I've forgotten his name, the officer from the Fire Brigades Union. I don't know if he's still here. Dave. Thanks, Ollie. Dave, who was incredible, and it's a shame that there weren't more people in the room, but he was talking about how their job as a union, as workers in the fire and rescue service, has just, they've exponentially had to increase the hours, the work that they're putting in to rescue people from flooding in this country, because it's so much on the rise, and obviously they're under attack from austerity, from government cuts. They're trying to actually devolve this sector, privatise it, farm it out, but they haven't. The government doesn't have contingency plans, isn't planning properly for ever more catastrophic weather conditions that are going to put more and more lives at risk. And the FBU has been saving thousands of lives at the same time as trying to save their own jobs. And we can keep putting our finger in the dam, which is effectively what the FBU are doing. But what we need to do is to make sure that the climate change isn't going to get much worse, and take the real steps to avoid that, which is why we have to stop gas. Now, in the struggle to do this, okay, I have 2 minutes to explain this to you. Now, I'm bigging this up. This is Reclaim the Power. This is a 4-day action camp at West Burton, at EDF's power station that we shut down. We want to take it from 21 people to thousands of people to come back there. There isn't a plan to repeat what happened last time, but there is a plan for something very exciting, very inspiring, and very participatory to happen, which is open to everybody, children, the elderly. We have got the Greater London Pensioners Association supporting this, and they'll be coming along. Some of them really wanted to go up the chimneys, but they just said they couldn't quite do it. Me bigging this up is actually a criminal offence, because I'm injuncted, but I think it's actually worse to be injuncted than to be sued for £5 million, which is what EDF tried to do, which we beat with the help of 64,000 signatures on a petition. And if even a fraction of those 64,000 people will come back to this camp, then we're onto a winner. So I'm forbidden from instructing people to go to this camp, but if I had the injunction, I would tear it up in front of you right now, because climate change cannot be, our resistance to climate change and social injustice, economic injustice should not be muzzled by the corporations we're actually seeking to defeat. So come to this, please. Who's going to come to this? Can I see a show of hands? Who's up for it? Come on, it's in August. It will be sunny, it will be beautiful, it will be inspiring. You're going to take part in a really exciting action that's basically going to ramp up the pressure on this government. And it's called Reclaim the Power because we know that we need to do much more than just to reclaim our energy system in this country from capital. We also have to reclaim our own power. We're facing a climate crisis, facing an economic crisis, but we also have a power crisis in this country. We don't have the power that we need to fight this government, to fight capitalism, and to create the kind of world we want to live in, which is why it's so important to come together from many different struggles, from the unions, from all sectors, and we're going to do this at West Burton in August. So come along. Thank you.
Fantastic. I'll instruct you to go. Tembika Majali from the campaign for 1 million climate jobs in South Africa. We can't make the connection. We've been trying all day to make the connection on the computer, so she's not here. I'm going to tell you in 45 seconds what they're doing in South Africa. They got a massive campaign for climate jobs. They have it because they have 40% unemployment, and as speaker after speaker after speaker, when I went to their meetings in South Africa, got up and said, I'm from this farming area, and I'm from this farming area, and I'm from this farming area, and the rains are failing. Over and over again, they said, Africa is burning, and we have 40% unemployment. That's why they have a climate jobs campaign that is supported by every environmental organization in South Africa, that is supported by an enormous range of township and civic society organizations, that is supported by all of the unions, by COSATU, their union federation, but by the Metal Workers Union, the Factory Workers Union, and the National Union of Mine Workers and the Coal Miners in South Africa, because they know it has to be done. The people that you saw on your television screens getting shot down in Marikana are platinum miners. After 34 of them were shot dead, they stayed out on strike and they won that strike, and they are going back into negotiations with the management saying these are climate jobs because we are producing platinum for catalytic converters. And you have to go out and sell that to the world, they're saying to their management. So I wish we could have gotten through to them, but we didn't. But what I would like to do now is pass you on to Martin Empson from the Campaign Against Climate Change. Martin.